Good day, all. Ira Epstein of Linn Associates with your financial market wrap-up for this Monday, the 4th of March, 2019, about 3:50 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have been waiting, like so many people, on the president. He's due from the White House to hold another press conference. Don't know if it's going to be about the tragedy that took place with the tornadoes down south. 23 people lost. Terrible. My heart goes out to the family. I mean, I was in one tornado in my life in Iowa. Scariest thing you've ever been in, and I've been in hurricanes, but these things are something else, a whole different level. When we're looking at the markets, there's other levels. If you were watching Sunday TV, you were hearing all the threats against the president, and today the House Judiciary Committee came out with requests for information. I think 81 or 60 people, 80 documents or something. It's a huge number. It doesn't sound like the president's also going to be able to win in the Senate on the first vote. It appears that, in other words, there's going to be a bill to not declare the national emergency. The president will veto it and probably win in the veto phase, but that's been known by the markets. Then, of course, we had to deal with the Chinese-U.S. trade talks that are still going on. We're starting to hear dates at the end of March that there might be a formal one-on-one meeting between Premier Xi and President Trump, where maybe a deal gets signed. I don't know. But the market, you keep discounting this news, and you get to the point of the buy the rumor, sell the fact, and that's what you hit today. Now, the simple fact of life is, while you broke hard in the stock market, you really came off the break lows pretty hard any way you want to look at it. And when you take a look at what's going on the weekly chart, you got up to 2805, taking out this high level, and you're starting to correct a little bit. Okay. When we take a look at today's action, it's the first time we've had a big key reversal day. Now, what is a key reversal? It means that you've made the highest high of a move, you took out the previous day's low, and you closed lower on the day. Also, as a true technician, you close under the opening of the day. That's exactly what occurred. So until today's high's taken out, to some degree, we've probably put in a trade top of sorts. Take out that high, you got a different world going there. You can see the overall sideways action, and what you did is you stepped out of a trend. You now have a higher high and a lower low. That's not a trend. Where did the market fall back to? You tell me. 27.5820 is the 200-day moving average of closes. 27.64, let's call it 50, is the 18-day. We got to 27.6750. So we're into a general area of some support. Doesn't mean it has to hold, but that's the first challenge of it, and that's the first challenge we've had of it. Honestly, these 18-day average and the like, since way back here. Yeah, since the beginning of the year. In looking at the slow stochastics, you had one move up and hit it about a week ago. Since then, the market has been basically drifting. Yes, it did make the higher high, but it's drifting. It's not running one way or the other. The good news is you still have the embedded reading. The bad news is going to be that with the market finishing where it's at, you've got to be careful. You're about halfway in the range. What you don't want to see is a sharply lower opening tonight. If you start losing the red line under 80, you've got to use caution, because you could at any point just get a correction out of left field for no reason in reality. The NASDAQ kept its embedded reading. And for those of you that are subscribers to my morning videos, I pointed all this out today. And I know what I was saying in that, and I was saying that the weakest was the Russell at that point, and it still is. But look where the NASDAQ went. Went right up to the upper Bollinger Band 2 times, and then bam, market gets hit from that number. In the Dow, you've got lower highs, lower lows. The market's at 25,808, which is over the 18-day average, but it went right to that number and held it. Here's the bigger problem. You lost the embedded reading. But that just means the market went to what the objective was, which was the 18-day average. And now the question is, does it get a close under that number to make a run for these lower lows, or does it play right here? I don't know. In the Russell, I was looking at this market to lose its reading, and you could see it's lost it. Where did it go? right through here. Look at this 200-day average. It has been the barrier point in this market. And one of the things I think I've said correctly in my morning subscriber video is this market was the weakest of the group, and it still is. But now it and the Dow have both gone to their 18-day average of closes, or about there. I'm looking for support either there or at these lower levels. Right now, you need to close under the 18-day average to give me the bearish bias. In the VIX, I've been telling people that the first challenge of the lower Bollinger Band is often where put writers show up, trying to get back out at the, 18-day average of closes. It all happened today, and obviously the market opened lower and went there first, and on Friday they had an opportunity. Do I think they hung into the upper Bollinger Band? No. I think their short-term trade is playing for those amounts, be it in this case here, it was about $1.30. When you come into the bond market, you're trying to grab some traction against the lower Bollinger Band, and you're not trending. You have a pattern of a higher high, a lower low. You are oversold. Are we trying to come out of this sideways action to the downside is a question I'm asking myself. I lean to that thinking that we've seen the lowest of the interest rates for a while, especially if the Chinese-U.S. trade deal happens. Do I know? No. But I can tell you the chart isn't giving an indication other than it's trying to break out of sideways action to the downside. The same thing can be said of the 10-year note, but you're not trending. You've got patterns of higher highs, lower lows, and you're oversold in both. In TLT, it's a little bit more of a trend, and it's been that way. This has been probably the leader. Number one, here's your sideways action. I think you'd agree with that. Momentum down. Lower highs, lower lows. Very different than we're seeing in the notes or the bonds. You came down on Wednesday of last week for the lower Bollinger Band. Now, what it does from here, if it goes back to the 18-day average and not oversold, it probably attracts some sellers. It doesn't do that. Now it starts pushing on the lower band. If it can push it hard enough because the 100 days under it, maybe that becomes a support level. The problem is for new sellers, what's going on is you're oversold already. This is today's action. Well, that was Friday's action. This is where you're at now, trying to hang at that lower Bollinger Band. Other than being oversold, the trend is still down. Resistance is back at 121.22. In the dollar index, the market today did one of these moves where it took itself out of a trend. It had been in the lower highs, lower lows, rallied back on Friday to the 18-day average. The key was, in my opinion at least, not to take out 96.65. If you were going to try to keep the downtrend in play, then maybe you can get back for these lower levels. Momentum was attempting to turn up, but it also had come out of an oversold condition, as you can see. Today, snookered. The market makes the higher high. So you've got a lower low, higher high. You're back to square one without a trend. In the eurocurrency, this game fell apart from this day. You had an outside day up, and this was last Thursday. My theory, it's mine, I can't tell you that it's other chartists, is if you take out the low of an outside day up, because this would be under the 18-day average, you still put into play the possibility of the lower Bollinger Band, the closest of those numbers, and because you're under the 18 when it happens, it's not the 18. That's what I see there. British pound, you get oversold, you get overbought, you're just whipping back and forth. But I think you'd have to agree, the market's not in a downtrend. Chart-wise, you've got the higher lows, higher highs. You're certainly in a corrective pattern here where you got overbought, but that's about all that you can say. Still pretty good support between the 18 and the 100-day average of closes. The yen has got a problem in that it just can't even get beyond these 18-day average of closes on rallies, and now you're about to get the possibility of a crossover where the 18 gets under the 100 with an embedded reading. If that happens, it adds more bearishness potentially to the market. Bitcoin fell back to its 18-day average for neutrality. You've got a market that has a pattern of a higher high and a lower low. Now, for a while, you had the lower highs, lower lows. You went to the 18, you held it. You came back, you neutralized that pattern. Now you've just fallen back to it. It's not trending. It just seems to be drifting on, as I call it. In crude oil, you're slipping away the difference between Brent and WTI, which is interesting because Russia just announced that come March, this month, they're going to be in full compliance with taking down their production where OPEC had asked them to do it. So you would think that that would make Brent worth a bit more than ours, but it isn't. Right now, the Brent is out of a trend, too. It's got lower highs, lower lows. It's riding this 100-day average, might get back to the 18, and the market has been in an overbought condition, and it still is. Any number in the slow stochastic that is over 70 is overbought unless both numbers are going over 80 sideways or under 20 sideways and under 30 to be oversold. You might want to repeat that on this tape if you're watching. In April crude, it's just like the Brent. You're riding the resistance point of this 100-day average, support back at the 18, correcting an overbought condition. Gasoline doing the same thing, no trend, overbought, higher high, lower low, support back at the 18-day average of closes. And nat gas has been on a tear to the upside with all the cold weather. And of course, news that China is talking of buying a lot more liquid natural gas from the U.S., so we'll see where that goes. But one of the things we pride ourselves on is all the research that we put out for you and other people like you. And we write on all the different categories you're going to see coming up here. I, of course, add to that, and for those of you that have been waiting for financial reports from me, we're about to start doing them on videos. And you'd have to have, your player, you'll come to our website, you'll be able to sign in. I'd rather do that than write them. I think the videos are more exciting to do. I won't be in them. I'll do them right off my computer, and I think you'll be able to see a lot more and get a quick idea as to what's going on and why I'm seeing what I am. So if you'd like to sign up for this information, it is free if you'd like to try this out, just give us a call, 866-973-2077. You can also go to our website and you can take a look at all the free offerings we have and take it from there. I'm Ira Epstein. Have a good day. I want to go hear what the president says. Take care.